Hey, so we have finished Genesis. Can you believe it? 50 whole chapters of God telling us who He is, how much He loves us, and we see so much of how Genesis is the beginning of it all. And I wanted to show you some how Genesis is referenced in Hebrews from the very beginning to the very end. I never noticed it until I watched some commentary on it, and I just thought it was so amazing and worth sharing. So, Genesis is the beginning of it all. Creation. We see sin enter the picture. We see a plan for redemption and restoration. We get the idea of covenant and how God promises to deliver His people no matter what. And then we see a nation born, the nation of Israel born, and then how they even ended up in Egypt. But what we see is how faithfulness is at the center of it all. Not only do the people of Genesis show how much faith that they have, but every time they are met with the faithfulness of God. And in Hebrews chapter 11, we see how everything that happened was attributed by faith, to their faith. And I just kind of wanted to go through that because it goes all the way from Genesis 1 to Genesis 50. And so in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 3, it says, "By faith, we understand that the universe was created by the word of God, so that what is seen was not made out of things that are visible." That is Genesis 1. And then we see Genesis 4 referenced, where it's talking about Abel offering up a sacrifice that was more acceptable than Cain's, but that it was by faith. And then we see Enoch was taken up so that he should not have seen death, and he was not found because God had taken him. Now he was commended as being pleased by God by faith. In Genesis 6, we see Noah referenced in the faith that he had. And then in Genesis 12, we see that Abraham obeyed when he was called out of a place, when he was asked to leave. By faith, Abraham obeyed. That's in Genesis 12. And then Genesis 21 is referenced, where even Sarah had the faith. By faith, she was able to see that he was so faithful in what he promised. And then we see Abraham, he was being tested. And Genesis 22 is referenced. And it says, by faith, Abraham, when he was tested, offered up Isaac. And then we see in verse 20, by faith, Isaac invoked future blessings on Jacob and Esau. That's Genesis 27 being referenced. And then we see that further. Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of his sons by faith. That's Genesis 28. That would be Genesis 49. And then we see Genesis in Hebrews verse 22, words are hard. By faith, Joseph, at the end of his life, made mention of the exodus of the Israelites and gave directions concerning his bones. That's Genesis 50. And we just continually see that all of these people, all of the patriarchs of our faith in Jesus and God did all of these things, but it was by faith. It was not that they saw anything. And in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6, it says, without faith, it is impossible to please him. For whoever would draw near to God must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who seek him. And so I think we forget about how much faith all of these people in Genesis had to have in order to do the things that they were doing. And I just really wanted to point that out because it was pointed out to me. And I just thought it was really amazing how from the very beginning of Genesis to the end, it was pointed out how much faith every one of these characters in Genesis had to have. So I hope that blessed you as much as it blessed me. And we will begin studying Exodus and see how amazing God is and how he fulfills all of his promises. Have a good day.